Hi! Welcome back to Plus This.
Plus This!
I'm Kathy Deach.
And I am Eva Tingley. And have you guys missed us? Because we've missed you.
We missed you so much.
We have missed you guys so
missed
much.
The studio.
We have Jarvis back, who
Yes.
again is not a robot thing from Iron Man. He's a real live human being.
Jarvis.
Guys, we are so excited to be back. We have so much to talk to you guys about.
I know. First of all, our guest is a superstar.
Yeah.
And we've been such fans of Slink magazine since we started doing this, and
We've been obsessed with it.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
It's
if
so-
you don't know what it is, don't Google it right now because you should be watching this.
Yeah, and we'll
But
show you
later,
things. We'll show you things. Jarvis is gonna be a mastermind and bring up pictures from it. But it's real editorial, guys. It's like real Vogue for chubs.
And really good, well-written articles, which you don't see in other fatty magazines. Not to, talk any smack.
But obviously, having the U.S. editor of Slink magazine is a big win for us at our season premiere. Renee Cafaro. Yes. Cafaro.
Kathy, let's just clarify. Number one is terrible with saying people's names. And two,
Still,
wants
changed.
to say everything with a New York accent, I think.
Yeah, Cafaro.
Cafaro. And she was
I
like,
have a
no,
friend,
it's
Jared Cafaro, who
She was
might
like,
be
no, it's
watching.
Cafaro. No.
So
no.
it took me 18
She
seconds.
was like, hold on, I got to... Cafaro, is that right? I still don't know if I'm saying it right.
Guys, things haven't changed. We've been away. Some things haven't changed.
Some things
at
haven't
all.
changed.
Just
Some
in
things
case you're
have.
wondering. Yes. One thing we did a road trip down south.
Road trip! It was so much fun.
A lot of fun. It was an influential summit.
Yes, because we are influential, guys, if you don't know.
We're influencing.
We got invited to go, which was really awesome.
Yeah.
And...
one of the co-sponsors was a MommyCon.
Yeah. So there was a lot of moms there, and there was a lot of mom giveaway stuff. So a lot of my friends who have babies got lots of stuff.
Of gifts, yes.
Which was
lots of
high-end baby stuff.
Passed around.
Although there was something that I kept for myself because I think slightly I am like a child. There was like a little thing that had like 2 containers with a spoon on top, and I'm like, ooh, yogurt and granola.
Oh, no. Do you remember how happy I was when I got the little square containers, like the grid?
Yes,
of
I have
containers,
the square containers too.
And I was like, peanut butter and apple slices will go in here.
Best. It's the best.
Yeah, we definitely.
Oh my gosh, we did keep some stuff. I did keep a diaper bag, guys, because I use it as my fit bag.
Why not? Why not?
I'm like,
Why
here,
not?
I'm a fit model. Here's my diaper bag.
But one really fun thing was I guess, was it fun? Just a deep discussion that came out of all the fun we were having. Because there were crazy things, like, what was the chocolate cookie?
Oh, there was
cup
a
of something?
chocolate chip cookie cup. Like a cup, like a chocolate chip, no, a cup made out of chocolate chip cookie. And they had like a fountain of milk, so you could fill the cookie cup with milk.
And I definitely ate that. So amidst that fun, we met some mommy bloggers who talk about...
huge mommy bloggers.
Yeah, who talk about all of a sudden being plus size after
and how
being
their
pregnant,
life has changed.
and how they are trying to deal with not wanting to be a size 2 again right away. They're not punishing their bodies to make that crazy adjustment.
Loving yourself. Who knew?
Yeah. And that was really interesting. So we've added some plus size pregos
on our
to
Instagram.
So
if you're not following us on Instagram, go on your phone right now and follow us on Instagram at Plus the Show.
Pretty please.
Because it's
there's
pretty
lots
awesome.
of things going on there. Yeah. So that was one thing we did. Tonight, right now,
as we
talking,
speak,
the doors have opened.
I know. We're our short. Remember we made a short last year called What I Really Want to Say, where Kathy Deach turned into the Hulk? That is being shown tonight at like a mini film festival, like a film festival night.
Yeah, it's our director of photography, Jennifer Hook, fierce, amazing, incredible DP. She has got together 3 of her movies, and they're being shown.
They're being shown
in Covina.
In Covina.
You could go.
You could totally go.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't make it because we have to do this show.
Bummer. But a bunch of people are seeing our movie.
Our short
without
tonight.
us there.
Yay!
We hope they like it. Let us know if you're there. If you happen to or know someone who's going, send them our way because we totally want to know.
Yes, we want to know what your thoughts are.
Another exciting, which is like one of the...
You guys, it makes me so excited to talk about this that I can't even look at the page because I'm so excited.
It really was... I went back and looked at some of our first posts with her. By the way, our repost of one of her poses is one of our highest, like, has the most likes, has like the most people looking at it.
And we are talking
for a
about
very good reason.
Who are we talking about, Kathy Deach?
Jessamine Stanley.
Jessamine Stanley. She is the like plus size guru extraordinaire, and we're obsessed with her. Actually, I was looking back at some text I was looking at my friends, and like so many of my friends have been like, "Oh, do you know who this is? Do you know who this is?" I'm like, "Yes, I know who that is." Come on.
We're so excited to meet with her and we didn't meet.
We talked to her on the phone. And I was like a total tard. I was like, "Hi! Oh my god, I can't believe I'm talking to you!"
You were very fangirly.
I'm really like not that way.
You were really fangirling.
I was
hard.
really, because I think like athlete to athlete, I'm like, yes, you kill it.
She does kill it. And her book, Everybody Yoga.
Yeah, so we got to like read her book and interview her for booksforbetterliving.com. Go read it. It's out now.
And
there's so much stuff that we didn't get to
put in the actual article because we talked to her for 45 minutes.
Yeah, and she was brilliant.
Everything that came out of her mouth, like, there's no like, oh, catchy phrase.
No.
Everything was like this beautiful poem of knowledge and like wealth.
It was so great.
Inspiration. Eva actually had a section that we wanted to get in the article, and it just didn't make it.
It just didn't make it,
But
and I was so bummed because I'm going to read it to you guys because it was
it's
so
that
brilliant.
Good. This is what Jessamine said.
So she said, the idea behind teaching truly is that you're just expressing your own practice. I've always described it as though I found this instrument inside myself, just hanging out at my house. I found this instrument. I'm digging away inside of myself, and as I'm practicing, I see this instrument more clearly until eventually I can reach in, and pull out this instrument outside of myself. I pull it up, and I'm like cleaning this gunk off this instrument, and then I'm like, holy shit, let me try playing this instrument. And I start playing this instrument, and then someone sees me playing this instrument, and they're like, bitch, where'd you get that instrument from? And I'm like, I found it inside myself. And they're like, you can find an instrument inside yourself? Because then they try to find an instrument inside themselves. And it's not the same instrument as my instrument. And we are reflecting this experience, and we find that other people walk up and they see us playing. And it's less like saying, I'm going to have a music class, and it's more like this epic jam session that everyone in the world can be involved in.
And we boom, and literally we were like weepy.
I know. I was like,
she's got time.
I know. I was like teary.
I just so beautiful. I would have a jam session.
I would have a musical instrument pulled out from myself and play it.
So imagine that, but like how many pages? Like hundreds of pages, and you can get Jessamine's book and enjoy all of that. She's extraordinary, and we both learned so much, not just about yoga, but about history and about culture.
Well, and about her, about like her childhood and how things were for her, and she uses the word fat a lot in her book. So I was kind of like, one of the questions I was like, we have to ask her is like, did people not want her to use that word because people see it as a bad word, and we don't.
Yeah, well,
we're kind of like,
I think we've come. I mean, I will speak for myself. I've come around to embracing the word fat. I think when we first started, I was not okay with it at all.
No, I think that I was talking to somebody outside in the green room, and was saying that like today, if someone was like, oh, you're fat, or like called me fat, I would be like, yes, I am also blonde and have blue eyes. And
what's your point?
Thank you, Captain Obvious, for pointing out the facts about me.
You have eyeballs. That works.
Oh my gosh.
Good for you.
Hey. I don't think that I would be offended by it so much anymore. If someone called me fat, I'd be like, okay. Ooh, good burn. I don't know.
We talked a lot with her about that, and she also wrote in our article. If you go and look at
go read it.
You can read it.
You can read her response to that.
Articles.
Yes.
You were so excited. I think you might have texted me from the grocery store.
Not the grocery store. I was at Barnes & Noble.
Barnes & Noble.
And I literally ran from buying it to the coffee shop in Barnes & Noble and screamed to everyone there, there's a fat person on the cover of People magazine! And my nieces were like, is that a good thing? I was like, yes, it's a great thing. And they were like, why? And I was like, because that's just not really happened before. It's a huge mainstream magazine.
For those
and
of you
she's on
listening,
the cover.
Instead of watching, it is Chrissy Metz, How I Learned to Love Myself, on the cover of People
Jarvis
magazine.
pulled up the cover. Look at how cool he is. And mind you, not only is there a wonderful article in there, but there's also this beautiful spread that you guys need to see. I'm going to cover my face. Look at this. Look at their beautiful... Look at my nails. I got my nails done, thank God, because Jarvis is like really in on that.
Looking at your nail beds.
Yes. And
yeah,
and
really
then this
beautiful.
Too. Look at this.
Really
Look at
beautiful.
This.
That is probably the most.
That's crooked. There we go.
That is probably the most pictures of fat people I've ever seen in that
Honestly,
magazine.
it's brilliant. I was so excited.
Except without something written like, what happened?
Yeah, like, oh, this is, what happened?
Or before and after.
Before and after.
Yeah.
Nope, none of that.
Just glamorous, gorgeous.
I just love it. I
gams,
love it. It's
just gams and hair.
I mean, and when she was here, I was like, girl, you better be having those legs out.
You did. Because,
she has great legs. And I kept telling her, like, better have your legs out, girl.
Yeah. And then but it's also beautiful. Again, guys, this might as well be book club. It's like we're doing plus this book club. So she also has written a book. This is me.
Yeah.
This is me. Or whatever that song is. That I just can't sing any more of that. We'll get pulled off the air. But or they'll try. Sony will try.
They'll try to charge us.
But
YouTube will block us.
Exactly.
My nightmare.
YouTube.
My nightmare.
Stop blocking us, YouTube. So she's written a book, and there are excerpts of it in there, and it's
kind of beautifully. It's beautifully written. She's so vulnerable in it. She shares like an experience that she had with her boy, and I mean, that's just from the excerpt that we read from in People magazine, but
she's on a book tour now, guys, so go find her.
See her.
Go
find
hang
her.
out with
She's
Chrissy.
the nicest person ever.
She's so much fun and funny.
Yes,
like
very
really,
funny.
really funny.
If you start singing, guaranteed she's going to start singing with you.
Maybe even a harmony.
Oh,
try Little Indigo Girls on her. I bet you it works.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. I just want you to know that I borrowed Eva's earplugs, and I have tiny ear holes.
Don't talk about your tiny holes. I'm just mad at you. I'm just mad at you. She's like, your holes are so big. I'm like, what do you expect? I'm married.
This isn't fitting in my hole.
Ear hole.
My tiny, teeny ear hole. Yeah, but if you see me fidgeting, that's what's
if you see her like stuffing her fingers in her ear, that's why.
If I'm like trying to give you like a sensible tuck, it's not. I'm like, get it in there. Oh. Guys, if you're listening at home and not watching this, you might have to go to this minute of the broadcast just
so
to see the
know.
face I made. Anyway, the last thing that we wanted to talk about
before we
get Renee on the floor, I had a chance to go see Fatitude, the documentary.
I know, and I'm so bummed that I couldn't go.
A couple years, but that's okay.
We talked about them. We tried to get them on our show back when we were at our other studio,
and they're New Yorkers, so we weren't able to sync it. But I did get to go and watch the whole movie, which we probably will be sponsoring a screening of it because. It's actually kind of overwhelming. I need to see it again. I need to get more information. Like watching all of that happen at once. Like, you know these things, but it's kind of like if you took our whole season and cut it down into an hour and just told you all the facts, and you're like,
oh, it's like someone like just like shooting a fire hose at you, and you're like trying to drink water. You're just like, it doesn't really work.
A little bit. But it was amazing, and I just want to give a shout out to the festival. It was the La Femme Underground International Film Festival that hosted it, and it was so great in Echo Park
and
in my hood. And we'll tease something later about that as well.
Something a little later we're going to tell you
about. If you
hang
out to the very end, we're going to tell you a little bit about Fatitude.
And some of the people I don't know why I just like wanted to sing it. We're going to take a break.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to get Renee
Cafaro. See, she still wanted to do it.
Cafaro.
Renee Cafaro. No, Renee Cafaro.
By Jared Cafaro. Renee Cafaro. We'll be back in the hot seat next at Plus This. Stay tuned.
That 67% of American women are size 14 and above.
You mean they look like this?
Yeah, girl.
So then where are we in television and film?
And where are we in fashion magazines and clothing stores?
Yeah.
So we want to help out entertainment and fashion and media. Catch the F up.
Topics get hot. We want to hear what y'all have to say.
and they will get hot.
Absolutely
I have
true.
a question for you. It's kind of like a dirty little one. So if you had to do a love scene with somebody else famous, who would it be?
Oscar Isaac.
Love how I asked you that and you had an answer right away.
We sang, we laughed, we cried. We
You
actually
gotta go
didn't cry.
back. No, we didn't cry.
We didn't cry.
Everybody should be able to be seen in. I mean, maybe not every single campaign, but let's try to include it in as many campaigns as we can.
Witchy poo, we told you.
We're just putting it in the
meditate.
cauldron for you.
We're gonna get those candles.
Yeah.
People are having sex with us. We need to show that we're like part of this society, and being sexual is part of that.
Absolutely.
So tough titty, you're fucking uncomfortable.
Watch a fat girl love herself.
Applause, applause,
But just us.
applause.
Just us.
applause.
Applauding.
Thank
So
you.
good.
Plus this. Hi, we're back.
We are back.
So is our guest.
Here's Renee.
Yes.
Renee
In the
Cafaro.
seat. In the
Renee,
seat.
you have to sing with us now.
Oh, well, the thing is, you did say that you get pulled off of YouTube, which that has happened to me.
Oh, and no, it
Yeah.
legit happened to
It
us.
happened to us.
We're not joking about that actually happening. It legitimately
actually,
happened.
I'm absolutely not joking about that. I have a cover band, and I got a message one day that said all of my things got taken down because AC/DC's lawyers found them.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Wait, hold up.
Yes.
You have an AC/DC cover band?
We're like a metal cover band. We're actually right now trying to write some originals, but and we've changed our name and done a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm afraid to sing because I'm like, I know that I'll start singing in a tune of something that will probably
Yeah,
get sued.
don't. Just like sing like a
Don't even
titty.
We just make things
We just
up.
make things up.
Making it up.
Making it up as we go along.
But Renee, I have a Heart tribute band in New York.
What?
Called All Heart.
See?
That's amazing.
And I think we have a show coming up July 22nd. It's not official, but you guys could probably count on me doing it because it's a fundraiser.
Something that
amazing.
people definitely need to talk about. I'm here to talk about the magazine, but absolutely at some time we might need to start talking about having like a plus size ladies night.
Karaoke.
We have been talking about plus size karaoke night for forever. Fat karaoke.
I honestly believe there is like scientific facts that like big ladies can sing. I mean, honest to God, tell me when you're like seeing a big lady who can't sing.
I mean, honestly, and it makes me so sad
Scan
that
my brain.
the record industry has completely shut us out of it, and
I
it makes
know.
me really mad. So we should just tell them sorry about it and show up.
I mean, yes, no. I mean, now they kind of have. I mean, but when you think about some of the greats, there are a lot of plus size women in there.
Oh my God, yeah.
Sure. I mean, Aretha Franklin. Who else?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have
Mama
Beth
Cass.
Dido.
Mama Cass. I mean, well, there are. I mean, Hart was a little curvy. Grace Slick was a little curvy. I mean, we think about like what we consider plus size standards now, which is pretty much anything that's a double digit, which is the majority of the world.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, although Joplin would have been considered plus size now
Right,
too.
right.
So,
Yes.
and
she was on heroin in a size 6, but people still considered her plus size.
people consider her like a curvy person, and I'm like, because
That's scary.
Also, anyone who's wearing some sort of clothing, too,
Right.
would probably be seen as being plus size. It's a little silly what Hollywood considers plus, but we might not have a plus size diva in like the pop world. I wouldn't consider Adele in the pop world, or Beth Ditto in the pop world, but
I mean, Kelly Clarkson had major hits when she was plus size, but I think she admittedly goes up and down.
she does.
We literally have had so many conversations about that because all I ever wanted to be was a pop singer. Like,
Yeah. Well, I wanted to be a rock singer. I wanted to be Robert Plant when I was like a very young age.
I wanted to be Robert Plant. I
wanted
love
to
it.
be Robert Plant.
We used to go to the Whiskey a Go Go. They have an ultimate jam session night that on
Every Tuesdays, yeah.
Yes, and
Which
I'm
is
assuming I
fun.
can never hear on Tuesdays.
Oh,
I was
no.
telling you guys in the green room, like you said, look fabulous, and had this whole other outfit planned, and because when I do press, I usually try to pick something I think will look kind of good on camera. It's usually darker colors and not anything too distracting. But I had like a black floral, button-up sort of outfit that I really liked. And then I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing? I'm in LA. I'm talking about fashion in LA. So I'm going to do like what I would actually wear as fashion in LA. I'm like, so I got my Doors shirt on.
You look
I got my leather jacket.
It's awesome.
You know, I got my Boss jewelry. You know.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
The hoops I always have.
Do you
That's
find
awesome.
do you find inspiration here when you come?
I do. Unfortunately, not from any form of stores. Every time I'm here, I'm like dying trying to find places. And usually the answer is like, so you got to drive out to the valley, and I do find some things. It was definitely last time I was here, I spent some time in Burbank. I told you today I was at Melissa Massey's store buying some stuff. So I do like to go and look at some vintage places too. But really, the Sunset Strip is like really speaks to me. So with or without being here, that sort of colors a lot of my own personal style. It's so funny. Our editor-in-chief, our fearless leader, whose baby Slink is, Rivki Baum. I have to say she has fabulous style, but we really couldn't be much more different. Because I'm always the one like wearing like the big heels and the super like rock and roll, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just, bring on the sequins and the leather and the studs, and we're gonna wear it all together. Like, I think leopard's a neutral. And she's like, so, it totally is, and I will prove it. I'm actually thinking about doing it this summer. I'm gonna be traveling a lot for doing some work and doing some fun stuff too. I have to like live 6 weeks of very diverse activities out of a suitcase, and I already planned like my palette. Leopard is in there, and I'm going to prove how leopard is a neutral for every.
I love it.
This summer, so wait for that.
I'm so on board with that for sure.
Well, Renee, can you tell us how you became the editor of Slink?
I'm extremely lucky, I guess. And Jarvis needs to make sure this is.
You gotta
I'm really
swallow
loud.
it. You gotta swallow it.
This is the first time ever a microphone's been brought closer to me. Everybody's usually like, "Damn, we need to get this far from you." Jesus Christ, you're loud. Which kind of brings me to what I did for a living for so long. I was in politics for about 14 or 15 years, union organizing, campaigns, New York city government, New York state government. So I was always a person like rocking the megaphone, or even better, like rocking rallies without a megaphone because I was that loud. So if I wasn't singing or on stage, I was projecting. So, it's really funny when I'm told to get closer to a mic, but. So, I was doing that for a while, and I would have to say about 2010 or maybe 2009, I started a blog. This sort of before I had Instagram, before I even understood the idea of monetizing blogs. It was just that I was doing so much work myself to find really cute plus size clothing that I just wanted to have some place that I can just send a link to instead of continuously telling people, like, they always ask me, like, where do you find dress? Where do you find swimsuits? Yeah. And so I got into writing about body image and plus size fashion, sort of blogging. Didn't think anybody would read it or care. And then started writing because it was a great passion of mine, and kind of got my big break from a friend that was at Yahoo. And let me write for Yahoo Travel, and was just writing for a ton of different outlets. And I loved Slink. I had written about Slink like 3 or 4 different times.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was just like, guys, there's this thing called Slink. And it was back when it was still on issue. And it was just a PDF you can click through online.
Right.
And I was just so taken aback by how gorgeous it was. You guys were saying this earlier. I heard you say it. It's, with the editorials are just so fabulous. And it's so sexy. And, not to talk trash about others, but either the big glossies when they try to talk to the plus size space, or even other people in media and plus size space, just in our opinion, kind of do it wrong. And it's not about the big glossies always just put you in a shift dress or like skinny pants and a top, and it's just really silly. We're always styled up like a mom, and it's styled up for Redbook, it's styled up for O Magazine. It's like there is a time and a place for that, but what happens when it's like, I just happen to be fat and it didn't come from a baby, okay? Like, I'm just fat and it's fine. It's okay. I don't need an excuse of like, well, that's that baby weight I couldn't get rid of. It's like, no, I am a successful, vibrant, world-traveling, 30-something-year-old woman in this world who lives in New York, and I
happens
love
to be in a fat body,
and I just happen to be plus size, and so I think that women are allowed and should be given every opportunity possible to express themselves the same way as everyone else in the world, especially since we're the majority. We're 67% of women, and we have no media. The fact that there are only, I believe now 2, including Slink, print magazines in the world,
right,
for plus size is really sad.
Can you show us?
So show and tell. I brought some of this. I don't really know how this works.
Just lift it up there. Just hold it right there.
In Jarvis's
hold
face.
it right there.
She brought a copy.
Oh, she brought a copy for us,
so I brought a copy. I'm just gonna start just opening up the random things.
Look at how beautiful that is.
Oh yeah, here's Haley Hasselhoff. I love Haley. She is the Hoff's daughter. A lot of you guys know who she is anyway.
Yes.
Look how gorgeous these people are.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, just so gorgeous.
So
look how,
but see,
it's
done like a big glossy magazine.
It feels like a big glossy, and what these are my friend Louise. I love her. And we shoot on location.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time on what the aesthetic's going to be. Really get the correct styling, the correct poses, the correct people.
I love that.
That's one of my favorites.
Most importantly, the correct feel. I think it's extremely important for women to have the tactile experience and an equal experience. I mean, instead of having that sort of separate but equal feeling where, you have these special editions that aren't in the high grade glossy paper,
right.
Right, yeah.
Or they feel a little bit like Elaine Bryant catalog or something like that.
Right, yes.
And
it's not the same.
It's not the same. It's really not the same. It's
and
not the same.
To see people that look like you wearing fabulous clothes, having fabulous makeup, and being like, oh, that's something that I can do. That to actually be able to hold that in your hand and see that literally changes how your brain, how you think about yourself, how you think about
it. It really does. I mean, everyone always talks about representation really mattering, and this is actually one of my favorites. Hopefully this will come out because it's black and white, but she's just sort of styled up in this awesome like boss corset. I mean, this shot could have very easily been in Vogue.
Totally.
With somebody else. It's black and white with this really great corset, really interesting styling, very sharp, very edgy.
Yeah.
And, being a fashion magazine, obviously we're there to help women understand trends, understand how to style themselves and how to wear clothing. It's also art. It's supposed to be something that is thought-provoking, something that is beautiful, and showing people their full bodies. Like one of the things when you were showing earlier in the segment before me, Chrissy Metz, I totally understand being excited about fat women on cover of People because Tess Holliday, when she was on the cover a few years ago, I remember I still have that somewhere. I was like so excited. I was like, oh my God, Tess.
Yeah.
I love her. She's awesome. Her first editorial, I think it was the same day she found out she was being signed. She did her editorial spread for Slink. So her first sort of big modeling glossy was there. So we tend to find some of the really amazing women like before. It's like we were cool. It's like we were there before it was cool, kind of thing. So keep an eye on Slink magazine because we always really know what's up.
And you do show their full body instead of just showing their faces.
I got really excited when you showed Chrissy Metz. It was like. When you saw Chrissy Metz, and I was like, oh my God, they actually showed
her
full
body.
Because I always get sad when you see those. I mean, this is actually the only cover we have where it's just a face.
Yeah, the Jarvis showed a bunch of Slink magazine
and
covers.
So usually, you want to show the full body because that's what everyone else does. I mean, you need to show we are a full person. We are not just
we're not just a face.
Talking head.
Yeah, we're not just.
I mean, we do seem like we're just talking heads, but we're not.
And so I was just really obsessed with Slink, and I had seen a post that they were looking for content writers in the United States. So I jumped all over, I kind of fangirled a little bit, and I was like sending over this stuff, and Rivka herself actually emailed me back, and I was like so excited about it. And she's like, you might be like a little out of our league. You were just writing stuff for the New York Post, like like doing some random stuff. I'm just looking for like a random content person in the States, and I'm like, I don't even care. I just want to be part of this revolution somewhere. Yes. I'm like, you guys do what I've always wanted to see. The magazine I would have killed for growing up in the heroin chic 90s. I would have died for this.
Yes.
And I just love it. I think it was so gorgeous. It was done so perfectly, and she has such great vision that I was all over it. So they gave me my break, and I just sort of worked like crazy, but it was simultaneously, I'm not a millennial, but I kind of had that sort of side gig millennial lifestyle for there for a while.
Right.
And writing was my side gig for a good portion of time. And
I love that you got with them just because you saw a notice.
Because I was obsessed with them.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
And
that is inspiring within itself.
And I sent in all my writing samples and everything, and very professional about it. And it was just kind of like laid it on super thick. And then after a few years, we started to expand here. You can actually go to Barnes and Noble. I bought Slink one the last time I was here. I went over to the Grove and bought the Barnes and Noble there. So you can find us in Barnes and Noble.
I found it there at Barnes and Noble.
We've so we are in print here, but it's relatively new for us to be in the States. And so now that we are growing in population as far as people that are interested to see us, our distribution is getting wider, and are getting our name out there. Rivka's like, okay, we might need to move you up a little bit, and I got that offer for U.S. editor while I was actually at the Democratic National Convention in Philly in 2016.
Wow.
And I was running finance. I was raising money all over the place, really putting it all out there on the field for Hillary Clinton. And I'm like, I can't give you an answer until the election's over. And
then, boy, did you give an answer.
Yeah.
At that point, well, exactly. I mean, I kind of already knew that, like, even if I didn't have Slink, I'm glad I had this, but without it, I kind of always told myself, like, if Trump wins, I think I'm out of politics for a little while. It's been 15 years, and quite frankly, I was doing a lot of campaign message strategy. It's like, well, what kind of job does a message strategist need in a world like this anymore? You just kind of say whatever anyway.
Interesting.
So, so I really needed to step away from politics for a little bit, but there was an interesting, like, crossroads in my life in 2016 where it's like, Hillary could have won. I could have had some other opportunities, and my life could have gone somewhere else. I could have stayed in politics. I was getting courted to run for local office in New York City, and so which I really seriously considered. And
we still want you to consider it.
Yeah.
I'm not against it.
Do you know that Kathy wants to, like, rope you in on doing some sort of think tank? Do you know that?
I did not know that, but I'm happy.
She wants to do a think tank. She wants to do it.
Like, putting it on my altar because I think I just need to be an activist now and maybe not an actor. And I just want to like write policy, and I just want to go to DC and fight for fat rights.
I absolutely love that.
Kathy's roping you in. She's planting some seeds so that you guys can, like, germinate together and cultivate a think tank.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Because honestly, I was more than happy to do the career change. It was a little scary, obviously, at first to sort of jump ship from something that I had been doing. Jump ship entirely, it's like from something I was doing for almost 15 years. But really just dug my claws into Slink and have been working like crazy and trying to figure out how we get our name out there and come up with cool partnerships. And,
we want to talk about your articles too. So
I've been writing a lot.
Why don't we take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. And if you have questions, if you've read the articles we've posted and want to get me on the Facebook, I'm on the comments, guys.
Yes, Kathy is on the comments.
Ask Renee your questions about the articles she's written. We're going to talk about them when we come
you
back.
can also ask me questions about whatever.
About whatever.
Maybe about her band.
About whatever.
Okay, we're going to be right back. A very quick short break.
Stay tuned.
Promotional consideration brought to you by Melissa Massey. Custom clothing isn't exclusively for the rich and famous. Melissa Massey is custom-made clothing for everyday wear. A unique combination of custom tailoring and deluxe fabrics that is well made and fit for every size and frame. Made in LA, sold in LA, and online at melissamassey.com. Promotional consideration provided by Scrubs Body, a woman-owned business with scrubs so natural they're good for your public parts and your private parts. Scrubsbody.com. It's not the natural beauty products in your life, but the life in your natural beauty products. Linda Kammen's Aromatherapy Salon, lindacammons.com, for happier, healthier living.
And we're back.
Someone wrote, well, I can't sing karaoke, but I'll come and hang out. Someone was not feeling very confident.
Someone was like, I don't want to, whatever, you can come and
They
cheer
lie.
us on.
First
Buy
of
us
all, I
drinks.
think they lie.
I think they lied.
Prove it. They need to come and sing, and then they can prove it.
Yes.
No, they can't
Now, one of your articles dealt with Amy Schumer's new movie, I Feel Pretty. And it's funny because Eva and I have different opinions.
We have very
about this.
differing opinions about this.
And,
Well, I know. You guys are gonna gang up on me. It's fine. It's fine.
But I completely and totally agreed with your article. I feel like it might have even been you that I retweeted before I even knew you.
Maybe.
That
Because I was the only person kind of on this side. You're saying we're going to gang up on you? I really, when I wrote the article kind of slamming Amy Schumer, there was this sort of like this shockwave even from friends of like, oh, blasphemy. How could you possibly? Amy Schumer is a god, and she's really funny in a lot of ways.
I don't think that she's like a god.
They're
or
like,
anything,
this is gonna be the best movie ever, and I'm like, I have no faith in this. Call me a cynic, but I mean, I
don't actually like super love Amy Schumer, to be honest. Like, we had tried to watch Snatched and was like, but to be honest, like, this is something that we're talking about, the movie I Feel Pretty that's coming out. I don't even know when it's coming out, or maybe it came out. I don't know.
April 20th.
Oh,
they
so
actually moved
April
it
20th.
up. And that first of all, like, there's a billboard before it goes to like my hotel.
I did not see
but
that.
there's like a bunch of billboards like all over Sunset. But shortly after that, I posted an article. A friend of mine had been like, apparently Hollywood disagrees with you. They actually moved the release date up because there's so much excitement about this movie.
We'll talk about your opinion real quick.
Yeah.
So, my sort of concern is like when I first saw the trailer, I was really appalled, but I couldn't say that I was shocked. Really, about Hollywood just does a terrible job representing plus size characters on the big screen. I feel like they always miss the mark, and generally we have to let either of them be the butt of the joke, or we have to have some sort of humor about it come right of the front. You have Rebel Wilson's character being Fat Amy, and then like literally explaining, he's like, well, if people are gonna call me fat, I must call myself fat. I'm like, okay, I kind of see it, but someone else is not like skinny Rita. Like, what? It's really annoying.
It's real on the nose.
It's real, yeah. Always, it looks as just this elephant in the room, and that's how it's handled. And so it's this butt of a joke thing. And when I saw the premise is that she gets hit in the head, she kind of hates herself in the mirror, and you can see her like, I really wish I was just so beautiful, and I'm just never gonna be the hot girl or whatever her thing is. And she starts, then she I think she falls off a treadmill or something, and she's concussed, and then she wakes up and thinks she's amazingly beautiful. And I guess what we're trying, I think what they're aiming for is to be like, you don't have to change, you can accept yourself as is. I'm sure someone in a pitch room somewhere down the street in Hollywood thought that was like what they were going for. But the way I look at it is that you're portraying someone who then goes around and she's saying like, I'm so beautiful, and the looks on the characters' faces in that trailer proved to me that they had no interest in actually really talking about real body positivity and real body acceptance, because there's just these appalled, like a baby cries at her like as if she's so ugly. She's like, I'm so beautiful, and like babies are crying, like people are like appalled and people are like laughing, and she's like, oh my god, like it's so uncomfortable, like she's not in on the joke. That like she's awful, but like she's concussed, so she just accepts herself anyway. Like, just like you're living in a dream world, accepting yourself, which really struck me, I think, personally, because I went through a lot, as all of us did. At any size, really, women are always told they're never good enough, they're never pretty enough, they're never skinny enough. We're just never enough, and that's the female experience. Is not just a plus size experience. But as I started to sort of come out and talk more about overcoming crazy calorie counting and eating disorders, and I always tell people, yes, you can be fat and anorexic at the same time.
Yeah, totally.
It is something that happens. And spending most of my teen years wasting my life hating myself, trying to chase after this skinniness so that my life could then can then start. When I just sort of gave up on that and was like, this is stupid. I don't want to be a pawn for profit for the weight loss industry. This is all a gimmick. It doesn't change who I am, and I'm not gonna hate myself even if I want to be losing weight. I have to do it in a reasonable way, which is going to take some time. And so I taught myself this when I was like around 18 years old, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna start just finding things I love about myself. But that was hard work.
Yeah,
that was hard work. I had to spend time and be like, okay, you know what? I actually legit, I really like my legs. I really like my eyes, or whatever it is. And I found, and then once I could grasp the smallest thing I liked about myself, then I could let myself live. I can let myself be. I can learn to love bits and bits of me more. And I always say that body positivity and body confidence is definitely not a destination. It's a journey. Instagram does not show you that, because like all the plus influencers, or you know, all the rest of us, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. It's all curated, so it kind of looks like we're just like, yeah, we're so beautiful, we slay all day, body confidence all day, every day, we feel fabulous. So like,
No, but
when you're
it's
looking
not.
at it and you don't feel fabulous, like, what am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. You're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, that's human nature. Some days just wake up and you're just like not
Well,
feeling
social
yourself.
media is the highlight reel. It's not the it's
it's
not
the
the
sizzle
blooper reel.
Yeah. Exactly, it's a sizzle reel, and people
Yeah.
forget that sometimes. But you know, I can't tell you the amount of people, including some members of my own family, who really just can't get past the fact that I now do this for a living. They still kind of think either I gave up on myself, or like, oh, don't worry, at some point, you know, she'll lose.
Well,
the
we've
weight.
we've talked about
She'll lose the weight.
how people think that like it's only acceptable to be fat if you are trying to not be.
Yeah, it's like it's okay
That's
if
you're
I
a good
am
fat person.
aiming
Right.
towards the skinniness, and otherwise it's like, okay, you're like clearly living in the dream world, which is I think why I Feel Pretty sort of struck me as something that only underlines the worst in society's intentions on how to handle plus size people.
But I think that the reason why I didn't feel that way is because I have been in workshops with really, really thin girls who had the same things that their like inner critic said to them that my inner critic said to me. So I think that what happens is that sometimes we might need to be concussed or punched in the face. I literally needed to be punched in the face awake to realize that I didn't know how to choose a man. Like I was like, oh, whoa, like literally punched in the face to be like, oh, guys, I don't know how to choose a guy, and like had to reevaluate stuff. And that's the. I mean, is it the perfect movie? No, but is it a step towards what we
I
need
think
to?
that my thing is that it feels like a step. It feels like a straight white privileged male's version of what a step looks like.
Well,
and the
yeah.
fact that they're looking at her and thinking Amy Schumer, who literally she's
not plus
adorable.
or anything
She's
like
not
that.
plus. She's the witchy.
The lights went out.
The witch. I went and the lights went out. Because I'm a witch. But you know, I feel like she like the reactions that people are having, like you said, are really out of whack. And it is like, you know, if it took a step towards satire, and by the way, maybe the movie does and the trailer just didn't make it happen, but
Yeah.
if it really was pointing out how ridiculous society is, to me, that would be a female's perspective. What I'm looking at, to me, is a very white, privileged male perspective on beauty and on women's beauty.
Yeah.
And this is how
And
we're
but
gonna
that
comment
might,
on
I
it.
know that this sounds crazy, but it might need to be, that movie might need to happen in order for women to go, okay, but let's now really make the real movie, right?
Well, maybe.
And that happens.
Well, we'll see what happens to it. I mean, I'm going to have to see the whole movie, and I said it in my article too, to see how it goes. But I'm going to just unfortunately make the hunch that there is a male character that is in the trailer, and I have a strange feeling it's going to wrap up kind of the same way Shallow Hal did, where like you sort of. Again, I think that it is the white male gaze, or you know, it's the Hollywood gaze, you know, whatever we want to call it, on beauty, and they want to pat themselves on the back for trying, which like I kind of get it. I want to sometimes applaud people for like somewhat moving the ball, but you don't get a cookie just for like sort of doing the bare minimum.
And Amy Schumer is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, female movie star.
Yeah, and I
right
feel like
now.
they could have done something
Sure.
better with it, but I'm really worried they're just going to have her, you know, there's going to be a guy who's going to make it all right for everyone because he's going to show up and be like, you know what, despite your size and being like super ugly and plain for Hollywood standards, like, you're actually a good person, and like I can totally sleep with you now. Like, and I actually think you're beautiful. Like, I know it's a total shocker, and like
I want you to
that's
know.
how like how it worked for me. I'm like, guys, like, I hate being someone despite their size.
Yes.
Right.
And
There are people who actually are attracted to us because we look like
I was saying this to someone the other day that like, and there's actually someone much thinner than I was, and I was kind of like slapping them for not being able to like choose men wisely either. And I'm like, look, it's better to be. I'm like, I'd rather be single the rest of my life than with someone that's the wrong person. It's always
Sure.
been my thing that I tell people, because I'm like, you have to. Everyone deserves to be somebody's first choice, and you are someone's first choice. A good friend of mine always says there's a lid for every pot, and I think that's very true. And I've been very lucky, to find people that actually appreciate me for who I am, and don't ask me to change. And it's not like, well, you're such a pretty face. Like, if you just lost some weight, you'd, whatever. I mean, those people are gone. Those people are immediately out of my life. Like, I don't know any of those people anymore.
I had a guy
people.
once go, would you rather stay the same size as you are and be taller or lose weight? And I was like, I don't really know what you're asking
Wait,
me.
what kind of question is it?
Yeah,
So you'd rather be taller and...
Like, would I rather be plus size and taller so I could be like a plus size model, or would I rather be this tight I am and lose weight? And I was kind of like,
why are you
basically you're asking me that. Basically you're asking me to say that I want to lose weight when I'm kind of just good with where I am.
Well, you're already tall, so like I would just pick taller because I want to be taller.
I think you think I'm tall, but
No, you are tall.
really
Yeah,
not.
I mean,
She's
I'm
tall.
like I'm 5'1".
I
so
also want you to know
so
that
you're a little
there is an
You're so
entire
cute. You're
Renee.
petite.
There's an
Pocket size.
entire comment section on wanting you to write a screenplay. They've all
Boom!
So
You're now in a think tank. You're going to organize Fat Girl Karaoke, and you're also writing a script. Just from
funny you
this
should
1
say that.
hour
'Cause
long thing.
Funny you should say that. I was actually talking to a friend like a few weeks ago who is in the film industry, and he's like, I really wanted to write screenplays. I'm like, I would love to write. I'm like, I love to write in general, but I've actually written plays and stuff like that before, just for the hell of it, just for fun,
just for funsies. Wrote a play.
Actually, yeah,
your fingers on the pulse.
and
Yeah.
so I'm
You
like,
get it.
I'm not against the screenplay, mainly because I think of things in my mind. Like, I spend a lot of time traveling, so I like imagine things in my mind of what they would look like. And
Nice.
so like the soundtrack, I would have to like manage the soundtrack.
Obviously.
though. Like
Probably
obviously,
would need to
I already
sing
have
the
like the music
soundtrack.
videos in my head.
Guys,
Right.
maybe it just needs to be a movie called Big Girl Karaoke, and maybe we should
Oh
just
my
make a
gosh.
movie of that.
Yes.
Us just
Let's
going
do it.
around.
We're doing it.
karaoke
We're doing
everywhere.
it.
Like girls' night.
Can
except for
plus
Big Girl
size women
Karaoke.
have a casting couch? Is that like?
I think you guys
sorry,
can.
before
I
all
can't.
I can just feel
But I will
Twitter.
encourage- I will
can just feel
encourage from
Twitter
afar.
freaking out on me right now because that was a really off-color joke. I know. I'm
we
sorry.
love the
I know.
off-color here.
I'm
You're
in
in
Yeah.
the right company.
I know. I'm like, I'm in Hollywood. I felt I needed to make it.
You can
But
totally do
only
it.
if it's who is it that you want to casting couch? The guy who
Everyone.
like literally looks exactly like my husband.
Oh, who's your husband?
Yes.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar, yes.
Oscar Isaac.
is
Kathy
one of my
wants
favorites.
to-
Hot. You're married to a guy who looks like Oscar Isaac.
Yes.
He's
yes.
really hot. We'll show
Yeah.
you pictures.
I'll show you
I
pictures.
have a thing for rock stars, so unfortunately, I'm going to have to find those. That, like,
Oh,
cross over.
yeah, you
Is
and
it that
Kathy
or
were
Robert Downey
drummers.
Jr. is going to have to be in this movie somewhere? I'll take.
He's
him
the
too.
perfect height for you.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, a lot of big Hollywood stars, male stars, are short.
I don't mind it.
I find in real
I don't
life,
mind
so
it.
I'm actually kind of the perfect height for a lot of them.
You're so funny.
yeah.
I can't even believe this. The show's almost over.
I know.
And
Tell
I-
us very quickly
Okay.
where people can find you and follow you.
So you can find us at slinkmagazine.com. Also at Slink Magazine. All of our social media is Slink Magazine. Please go. You can subscribe there. You can also go to stores and try to ask for us if you don't see us, and buy us online as well. So I apologize. I feel like I didn't
Where
talk
can they
too
follow
much.
you?
Oh, me personally. My Instagram is Foxy Roxy Fashion, which is the name of my old blog. Foxy Roxy Fashion on Instagram. And so you can find me there. Also on Facebook is Foxy Roxy Fashion as well. And Twitter which I never really use. I have Foxy Roxy Fashion on Twitter, which I really never use. And then RLC NYC 84.
What does that mean? Real New York City?
Renee Cafaro. New York
I
City.
was like something.
Although I kind of like the notorious RLC.
There you go.
A lot of people have called me. But it's been a really an amazing journey to write for Slink. Not only from an artistic standpoint, but also to me, this is also a political crusade to continue to talk about accepting women as they are, and this is really the human experience, the female experience, and it's not just about plus size. As you can see, it says styling your curves. But we don't just slap plus all over it. We want to make sure that people realize that this is for everyone, because so many of us are considered curvy. So please come check us out.
Yes.
Even if you don't consider yourself plus size. I know some of you out there, if you're watching Plus This, I think you probably have already transcended some labels. But I know some of you don't want to talk about being plus size. But even so, we got stuff for you. We got travel. We got all kinds of stuff in there.
I love it.
Yes, and of course, Eva and I, you can find at Plus This Show everywhere. Please like, subscribe, and share. It makes all the difference when we get little dings that people have subscribed on YouTube.
Yes.
We get them personally, and we really love
And we
that
get
you
really
guys are
excited.
doing.
We're like, oh, did you see it?
And next week, we have Reagan Chastain, who was one of the contributors to Fatitude, the documentary here.
Remember we said we were going to tell you about something?
Renee,
about
thank you for coming.
Yes, it was
you.
awesome.
I hope you had the
over.
best time.
Oh, we have
I
to
had
say
the
thank
best
you to
time.
Peter for these wonderful, lovely flowers that he gave
Thanks,
us for our
Peter. We've
season
missed
3
you.
premiere.
Yes. Guys, thanks for following us. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next
Plus
week.
This. Plus This.